Season 46, War number 4, and we are up against PBT. And this time my team will be Onslaught, Shuri and Lady D. I will be taking Path 6 in Section 1, Path 9 in Section 2, Silk, Titania, Onslaught and Photon mini-bosses, along with a Quicksilver boss there with Shuri. So once again, quite a few fights, a lot of difficult ones as well, and well, this war is gonna be unlike any other you have seen from me so far, but more on that later on. So up first here we have an Ebony Maw on the Combat Deja Vu Prowess and Spiked Armor nodes, and I am taking this fight with Onslaught. Now Onslaught doesn't exactly counter Ebony Maw in any meaningful way. The main thing he has going for him here is that heavy reach, which allows you to punish Ebony Maw's special 1 as well as his heavy attack, so you can keep the Falter on cooldown throughout the fight. Other than that, he has no protection against the Nullify or the Degeneration, nor really anything else that Ebony Maw does, so all I can really do here is just keep spamming those heavies, keep the Falter off, and then just avoid his specials. I am also doing my best to not let him throw multiple special ones in a row, so that he wouldn't nullify that Fury buff on me, but he decides to throw his special one while I was holding my block for roughly 2 to 3 seconds already, just as a big middle finger to me, forcing me to use a potion for no real reason. But at the very least, that was the only actual problem in the fight. Other than that, it went down very cleanly, no bigger issues or mistakes, and overall, it wasn't a bad fight. Then we have a Kitty Pryde here on the critical setup and aggression prowess nodes, and I am taking this fight with Lady D. And this fight is fairly sketchy to take, if I'm gonna be completely honest. The main thing I need to keep an eye on here is that I keep the heal block debuff up on the opponent at all times, so that I prevent the opponent's unblockable abilities. So essentially, since I cannot land intercepts here due to all of those prowesses, giving Kitty Pryde the ability to face basically everything, I need to rely on the heal block to bypass the unblockables. Otherwise, a single special and I'm dead. So yeah, well, this fight went down fairly quickly without any bigger problems. It is very scary to take that fight, simply for the reason that if the AI doesn't play into you, you're just dead from a single special, which seems to be the theme of this whole tactic anyways. Luckily though, this time, no bigger problems, and I didn't die, so that's always a plus. This season has already started horrible, I don't need it going any worse than it already is. Then next up we have a Dani Moonstar on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed node along with the Power Focus 2 node, and I am taking this fight with Shuri. The main reason for that is her ability to block the opponent's unblockable special attacks, as well as her being completely immune to shock. So the game plan here is to just avoid hitting her during the bleed phase, and then just block any specials that she throws. It would suck a lot if I were to reflexively dex out of these specials and get hit by them instead, so I will try to force myself to just hold block when that happens, so that I run into no risk of actually eating it. Now therefore the special 2 I had enough charges to charge up my heavy attack and trigger Shuri's phasing, which is a very underrated piece of utility that she has. It's extremely powerful when used properly, and that allowed me to completely avoid the whole special 2, so no block damage there for me. Saves me a potion, which is always nice, but overall this matchup isn't exactly meant to kill anyone. It's more so a diversity placement than anything, and the tactic is there just so if you slip up, you will die, but more often than not that's not gonna happen against someone like Dani. Then next up we have a Longshot here on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed along with the One Eye Open node, and I am taking this fight with Onslaught. He reduces the potency of Shock, Bleed and Incinerate by 150%, so the hazard debuffs will not be doing anything. And if I happen to eat a special 1 or a special 2, the instant bleeds nor the Incinerate should do anything to Onslaught, though I'm not gonna try it out. Now the game plan here is to just get those shock debuffs on me, let those ramp up the neuroshocks on the opponent, so I can skip my special 1 and go straight to that special 2 to turn those into degens. I will be baiting some heavy attacks whenever I can and punishing them with my heavy to keep the neuroshocks and everything else paused. And now, already at my special 2 with almost a full ramp up, and now Longshot is just gonna melt. I go for one more pause here, and that is essentially the fight over. All I gotta do is just wait it out, but since Longshot was getting very close to that special 3 and I got backed up into my corner, I just had to go for it with the striker to get an opening there to lock it out before something could go horribly wrong. Because dying in war is something I don't want to experience again anytime soon. I have had my fill already. And with that said, next up we have a Silk on the Ebb and Flow knockdown, right back at it, and Aggression Prowess mini-boss node, and I am taking the fight with Shuri, using the White Magneto pre-fight. And now the game plan here is to just do parries and full hit combos into special 1s, and repeat that until she drops. Fight should be simple enough. As for her specials, I will just be blocking them, since dexing them is incredibly difficult while you are rooted, and if you get hit by either one of them even a little bit, you will die, without question. And honestly, Silk is one of the best defenders currently with this tactic. And as we can see here, she doesn't really want to throw that special. I've been waiting for roughly 30 seconds at this point, and that Aggression Prowess node already got way out of hand. So I made the choice of dexing most of it in the corner there to avoid it nuking me through my block, but looking back, that was an unnecessary risk. I should have just blocked the whole thing and taken the block damage. And now I gotta bait yet another special 2, and I was not ready for it. Having baited that first special 2 for over 30 seconds, I was under the impression that she simply wouldn't just want to throw the special for whatever reason, so when she actually did, I dexed on accident out of pure instinct, and I got caught by the second hit before I could throw my block up. And even with the invulnerability boost, even with Shuri's tankiness, it is just not enough. A single crit on the special 2 did well over 100k, and I was just dead. There's nothing I could have done about that, except, well, not being an idiot and just blocking the whole special. And that said, the AI was incredibly annoying to deal with, since, well, as you saw, the first special, she just didn't wanna throw it, and that kinda threw me on edge. Which is not an excuse by any means, I'm just trying to say it how it is. And as you can see here, the special hits very hard through the block, even with just a couple prowesses there. So yeah, I can't really take that many of those. This fight is just horrible, and I probably should not have taken it. Now there with the special 1, once again I dexed on accident, out of pure instinct of playing MCOC for many years, and I just got lucky. I managed to avoid the first 2 hits of the special 1. Had I gotten clipped, that would have been another death for the same exact fight, and at that point I probably would have just stopped playing war for the day and had someone else clean up for me. Though I know that that is not possible with the plan we had at hand. Oh, and also it might be a little late at this point, but trigger warning on the unit use. It's been pretty filthy so far. And with that out of the way, and next up we have a Titania here on the Scared Stiff and Power Focus 2 mini-boss node, and I will be taking the fight with Shuri. This fight was originally assigned to a Mantis, but thinking about it a little bit more, we figured that it would not be such a great idea, since you might not be able to charge up a full special 2 before you get rooted by the scared stiff node, along with a few other small issues we could think of. So the game plan here is essentially the same as it was against the Silk, hopefully this time successfully, and I will just be relying on Shuri's ability to block the unblockable specials. As for the rotation I will be using with Shuri, it's just a good old special 1 spam for the guaranteed crits and crit shots. The only real threat in this fight is the Haymaker as well as the Bubble Shield node, but as long as the Bubble Shield node triggers the unblockable in the middle of the opponent's specials, I can simply ignore it for the most part. I will need to keep an eye on the actual counter on it, so that I don't try to block or parry while it has a multiple of 10, otherwise the hit will be unblockable and I will eat a combo. Now during specials, like you saw there earlier, it doesn't matter, it will just get eaten up by Shuri's ability like any other unblockable abilities, and that makes this fight fairly simple to take. I did take some block damage due to blocking the specials, but that's fine. At this point, who's even counting how many units I've used on potions already, or how many I will be using throughout the rest of this season and next season, since it is the same tactic. That fight went down without any real problems, and I am happy that we did change the assignment, since it could have gone a lot worse with Mantis. Or better, I don't know. We will never find out. And then, next up we have an Onslaught here on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed node along with the Conflictor node, and I will be taking this fight with my own Onslaught. Game plan is fairly simple. I will utilize the Shock debuff from the Hazard Shift node to ramp up my Neuroshocks, get into my special 2, and then using that to nuke down the defender with the degens. At the very least, that is the plan. Now, I did practice a ton of decks in the special 1 so that I would never get hit by it, and I'm fairly confident that I can do that 95% of the time at least. So essentially I just repeat this over and over until I'm at my special 2, then I just heavy cancel into a special 2, and the fight should be almost over. I just gotta dance around for the degens. But now I first gotta bait this special 2, and instead of the opponent throwing it like a normal AI, they decided to stop for a moment, take half a step towards me, and then throw it. And of course I reacted to the half a step that they took, started my dex animation, and then they threw it and caught me right at the end of my dex. So naturally with this tactic I got completely destroyed with no chance of survival, and that is death number 4 for this season already. And at this point I'm just done. I don't wanna play war anymore for the rest of the season, but I will have to, so it is what it is. And unfortunately, my Onslaught is basically the only option that we have for this Onslaught, so I had to go again, revive, heal up to full, and then try again to see if I can close it out this time. And yeah, this honestly just sucks. The potion cost is way too high, or rather they heal way too little, in my opinion. I really could use the potion update right about now, but well, no can do. Anyways, the game plan here this time is slightly different. Instead of me spamming my heavy attacks to pause my Neuroshocks, I will completely stop doing that, since the Daunted debuffs kept feeding Conflictor, giving him quite a lot of power for me to deal with. So instead I figured I could play this slow and just get to my special 2, throw it whenever, and then let the Neuroshocks as well as the little bit of degen here and there do most of the work, and that should be fine since I can dex the special ones pretty well. So this is my plan going in the second time, and I'd say it is working pretty well, but this is once again where the problems arise. As you can see, I'm doing my absolute hardest trying to bait this stupid special, but he's not throwing it for no proper reason. I'm in my corner trying to dex hits, trying to bait it out, even this special 2. No luck, he goes for another heavy, I miss the dex, and he immediately throws the special 3 as soon as he gets it. And of course with this tactic, that's a death guaranteed, no escape, even fully boosted, special 3 boosts everything, it doesn't matter, you're dead, and there's nothing you can do about it. That death was complete bullshit if you ask me. The AI was just not throwing specials, so there was absolutely nothing I could do there except wait until something goes wrong. And it did, and yeah, I paid the price once again. And now, after a small break discussing the situation with my fellow officer, we concluded that there was no other choice but for me to just revive and go in to finish the fight. I am not healing up because I am in real danger of iteming out this war, and I still have a Photon mini-boss as well as the boss to take care of, so iteming out is not an option. So I go in, I use the same exact game plan as I did in the previous attempt, and just this time I just gotta hope the AI throws their specials. And naturally, after all the crap that I have gone through in this specific war, I forgot about the crush that he has, and I did eat a combo there. Luckily it didn't crit enough to actually finish me off, but it came close. So I'm essentially racing against the clock here. I could be dead any second here, one mistake on anything, and I will die and lose yet another attack bonus here. Now I got my degens off here, I decided to just go for it, hope he doesn't get to use his special 3 immediately upon standing up, and I did manage to close it out here by a Hail Mary play, and I'm never touching that fight again. I refuse. There's nothing else I can say about it. Anyways, next up we have a Photon here on the Stunning Reflection and Brute Force mini-boss node, along with Polka Dot Power of course, and I am taking this fight with Lady D once again. Game plan is the same, I will be utilizing the Ruptures for power gain, get into my special 3, using it to gain that passive that allows me to inflict Ruptures through the block. I forgot what it's called, and at this point I don't care enough to actually go check, so if you are curious, you can find it out in-game or through Aunt May. Now I will also be trying to play around the Pure Light form by triggering it on purpose whenever Photon reaches 10 charges, and then just making sure she has as little power as possible before I do so. Since while the Pure Light form is active, I don't want her throwing any specials, so it is best to leave her as little as possible, so you still have some leeway to land hits to reset the Brute Force timer. And that is what I'm trying to do here, but of course something had to go wrong in this fight as well, and I did get clipped there. Luckily she didn't do a full combo, so I got off with a warning, but yeah, at that point I already accepted defeat right then and there. After dying 3 times already in this war, I would not be able to handle another one, especially against a fight that I have taken multiple times in the past. Luckily though, she was nice enough to let that one slide at the very least, and as long as I don't make any more mistakes, this fight should be in the bag. Now at this point I am getting pretty close to another round of waiting out the Pure Light form, so I try to make sure I will have some power myself to be able to throw a special at a moment's notice, even just to break through the opponent's block, just so the Brute Force timer would not absolutely destroy me. And here I just had to go for it, which was risky, because if that special 2 had pushed her to a special 1 there, it could very easily finish me off at this point. Now the Brute Force is ticking, I tried to save myself with the Striker there, but I mistimed it and it got blocked. and while the striker was, well, striking into the opponent's block, I was just melting from the brute force, and I thought I would die. So I just went ahead, threw my special immediately, trusted on the unblockable, and it landed, and I did manage to close out the fight without dropping a death to it, which was nice, but at the same time, that was not a great fight at all. And even after that fight going so horribly, I still didn't take a break, and I just went ahead straight to the boss fight, which is a Quicksilver that I'm taking with Shuri. And while that was a bad idea to go immediately into a boss after being so mad and frustrated at the game, I was confident I could do this boss without any problems. So the game plan here is to just block the specials, spam special ones for the guaranteed crits as well as the crit shocks, and repeat that until the fight is done. I will be constantly regenning with the willpower mastery from that slow debuff and any stray whiplashes that I might get throughout the fight. Now the biggest threat here is the bubble shield node, but as long as I manage to counter properly and I don't let the unblockable hit to happen while blocking a basic attack, there is absolutely nothing to worry about. If it happens during a special, Shuri's sig ability will handle it. And with that, I believe that should be all there is to actually mention about this matchup, but even all that said, I just wanna point out just how tanky Shuri is here. The bubble shield charges are going through the sky here, but she doesn't care. She's just fully blocking the specials without breaking a sweat, and she's basically at full health even now, a minute and a half into the fight. I gotta say, she is probably the best option for this specific boss, and yeah, I will likely see this matchup again before the season ends. And there we have it. At the very least I got the solo on the boss, but even then this has been the worst war I have had in years. I cannot remember the last time I died 3 times in a single war, and it's honestly quite embarrassing. But there's not much else I can really say about it. As for the results, we did end up losing the war 10-11, so naturally me having a rough war ended up meaning I also cost us the war, and before anyone says, I know other people died as well, so it is not completely my fault, but I contributed pretty heavily. There is no denying that. At the very least, I'm fairly confident that it can't get any worse than this. At least I hope.